What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Brawling John with another episode of How to Play. And on today's episode we are taking a close look at Cantonian Zapdos with choice specs, alright? And what this Zapdos wants to do is create malarkey, alright? This Zapdos wants to click discharge and prosper. Now, how do we make that happen? Well, the main core of this team is Zapdos, Tornadus, and Landorus. How it works: if you take a close look at our Torn, you'll notice that we are Terra Ground. So a lot of times what you want to do with this team, especially if your opponent also has Tornadus, is you want to lead Torn next to Zapdos. You want to go Terra Ground, Tailwind, Discharge. You're going to either match their Tailwind, or you're going to catch them off guard as they try to be silly and go for something like Bleak Wind or Taunt or whatever. And you're just going to go Terra Ground, Discharge. You're going to knock out the Zapdos. You're going to knock out the Water Urshifu that might be next to the Zapdos. You're going to knock out a decent amount of Pokemon. And for the Pokemon with a lot of special bulk, you're just going to do some really good chip damage with a really good chance to para. For example, Fluttermanes on average take about 50% damage from this Discharge. When you add on top of that the chances for static, it's really good. Now, what if you lead Zapdos Torn and your opponent leads some slow Pokemon and you don't need Tailwind and you don't want to use Terra Ground? Well, what you can do is you can immediately swap out the Tornadus into Landorus, who is a natural ground type. You could go for Terra Electric Discharge, and now you're pumping out maximum damage. I'm talking about like nuclear levels of electric damage onto both slots. Now, this core is really strong, really fun, really solid. I've won a lot of games just by leading Zapdos Torn, and then my opponents go, and then I'm like, well, I know. Boonga, Unga, back to back. You know what I mean? Now, what makes the team good? Well, what makes the team actually good outside of Zapdos Torn is our secondary core of Rilla, Heatran, and Urshifu. Everybody knows about the Fire, Water, Grass cores. It's nothing new. It's nothing crazy. It's probably the most meta core in the format right now. But given the fact that we have Ground, Torn, Zapdos, and Intimidate, this core just accentuates the Zapdos so much better, right? So we are Assault Vest on the Rillaboom, Terra Fire, so that you can go Fire in front of like a pesky Heatran, and you could always win the one-on-one. You could also go Terra Fire versus Lilycole, Torkoal. You can live the Eruption easily, and then you can go for a Stomping Tantrum, Wood Hammer, whatever you want to do. Heatran, Tail as Old as Time, Terra Grass, Protect, 3 fighting moves with the leftovers. Really good Heatran. It's got a really solid spread on it. And the Water Urshifu is actually Terra Ghost, because there is a second mode that you can go for on this team. Now, when you're playing against non-Tornadus teams, the teams that don't have Torn, those teams are usually considered balanced, right? Those teams love having Rillaboom, Iron Hands. They love to have the fake out pressure. So against a team like that that's running balance, you can easily go something like Rillaboom Urshifu. You have fake out and your opponent doesn't, right? Because your Terra Ghost means you can't get hit by fake out, and this Rillaboom has a good amount of speed EVs to make sure it's the fastest fake out user in the format, besides silly things like Sneasler or whatever. But this team is genuinely solid. I think if you guys want to use this team to climb the ranked ladder, you can. This team has a lot of potential. It's really strong. It's really fun. I want you guys to use the rental code. I will include a PokePaste as well for all of you Showdown gamers that want to use this team. I will hook you guys up with the paste. Enjoy the rental, enjoy the paste. Comment what Pokemon you want to see me use below in the comment section. Yeah. Alrighty, here we go. And my opponent does have access to his own Tailwind. I still think Zapdos offensively looks pretty good here. So I am down to just go Torn Zap. There's no resistances to the Discharge, which is really good. The question is, what do we like for the end game? I think Heatran looks really good here if we can get rid of the Galarian Zapdos, assuming they bring it. And then the question becomes, we don't want to bring our we don't want to bring Landorus because they do have Defiance, right? So then the question becomes, okay, are we looking at Urshifu or are we looking at Rillaboom? I think in this matchup, I actually genuinely do want to bring the Rillaboom. Rillaboom does have some struggles versus King Gambit, but the hope here is that everyone around him can kind of help fix that matchup. And I do have a ground-type move to help with that. And I think just overall, the Rillaboom has a pretty good matchup. It's just really, we're kind of relying on our Zapdos to beat Galarian Zapdos and or just force a Terra here, right? I think the only lead that I necessarily don't really want to see is Torn plus Flutter. Just because that does outspeed, and that means Zapdos is going to have to live a possible Moonblast. But they go with Torn Rotom instead, which I'm pretty okay with, all things considered here. I think I can even go, well, I don't want to go Terra Electric because I need to go Terra Ground, right? So I'm going to go Terra Ground, we are going to Tailwind, and we are going to Discharge, which should do some really good damage across the board here. I should also be dodging an electric move from that Rotom, assuming that the Rotom is something like Scarf. I've seen a lot of Scarf Rotoms running around, which is interesting, you know? But let's see how this goes. I feel like I should have a really good turn here with the Tailwind into Discharge, but let's see how it goes. This is basically the meme of the team, right? Terra Ground, Tailwind, Discharge. Their Torn wins the speed tie, which means we are both max speed timid, which is good to note. Tailwind comes out. Now, let's see. Zapdos is going to hit a nice Discharge here into both slots. Should be a knockout on Torn and about 50% damage on the Rotom here. It would have been nice for a Para, but, you know, Rotom is an electric type. And we do absorb that Thunderbolt onto our Torn. So that's really, really good, right? That's definitely something that we would like to see. I would assume Flutter Mane comes in here. But an Icy Wind from my Torn is probably going to be really, really good for the speed control. Assuming that they brought Flutter Mane, right? Because Flutter Mane is faster than us. Oh, they actually bring in Arcanine. I don't know if Arcanine's going to be faster than us. I would have to assume somewhat no. The Arcanine floats in the air with Air Balloon. At this point, Bleak Wind and Icy Wind are both not necessarily that effective. I am thinking that I just go for the Bleak Wind here, because it should put Rotom in range of dying to another Discharge, right? So I am going to Bleak Wind here, and I'm just going to press Discharge again. I believe Zapdos to be the fastest thing here. Bleak Wind goes into both slots. Let me get some speed drops. Speed drop on the Rotom. What about the Arcanine? Alright, we popped his Air Balloon, whatever. Alright, Zapdos goes for a big Discharge here. I should get the knockout into Rotom. That's about 60% damage into the Arcanine. That's pretty good here. I'm assuming this is a Rock move. Okay, Rock Slide. Zapdos, do you live 1? Hey, Zapdos lives 1. Nice, you love to see it. Now, the only Pokemon in the back that could put fear in my heart is, and there it is, Flutter Mane. I was just gonna say, Flutter Mane's the only Pokemon here that really puts fear in my heart. But I do think, based on the Pokemon I have in the back, that this can be okay, right? So we're gonna go for an Icy Wind here. And we're just gonna keep on discharging. I think I probably go down to Dazzling Gleam. So I assume this is Terra Fairy Flutter Mane. He's gonna go for Dazzling Gleam. I think Tornadus lives on like 10% if I'm lucky. If not, things get scary, right? Now this does mean he is open to Fake Out. Oh, E-Speed into the Torn. That was such a good play. Now Torn does not live anymore. Okay, yeah, that was a great play. That was a really good play here. So now how do we play this, right? Heatran. I want to do this in a way. So I feel as though I can't. I'm trying to think if there's a lose condition here. Flutter Mane can't really beat the Heatran as currently constituted. So I think I want to Earth Power the Arcanine and fake out the Arcanine here. If he protects Arcanine, that could be really bad. But I think it's Assault Vested. Alright, Flutter Mane goes for Protect. Okay. Alright, did I make the right read? Okay, we made the right read. Yeah, I had a feeling it was Assault Vested. The reason for that is the Arcanine only took about like 40% damage, give or take, from Discharge. And that is max special attack Choice Specs Discharge, right? So I just had a feeling. Both of our Tailwinds will end, and now I should win this matchup versus the Flutter Mane. We're going to simply Wood Hammer and Flash Cannon here. He's going to go for a Moonblast. This should not be enough to knock out either slot. Rillaboom takes it like a champ. Good job, Rillaboom. Big Wood Hammer into the Flutter Mane. Possibly a one-hit knockout. Oh! Is that a Sash? The Sash on the Flutter Butter. Oh my. Not going to be enough though. Big Flash Cannon going to come in here and knock out the Flutter. And that is a GG's for Choice Specs Zapdos. Yeah. Alrighty, next game of the day. And this looks like a terribly difficult matchup for me. So my opponent has Regieleki, but he also has Torn. This looks like it could be a little rough. So I want to go Zapdos Torn here because we don't know that my opponent is going to bring the Regieleki. You know, like we just don't know that here. I almost like Rillaboom plus Heatran in the back again. To kind of deal with Flutter Mane, Urshifu. I mean, my own Urshifu could be decent here. I'm just trying to think of how this would really play out. I mean, Rillaboom, I think definitely should come. Because it could beat Flutter, it can beat Heatran, it could beat Urshifu. I'm just a little torn up between Heatran and our Landorus, right? Because Landorus is good into Rilla as a switch-in, it's good into Aleki, it's good into Heatran, it's halfway decent into the Urshifu. I guess I do bring the Landorus here, because I think Landorus could pay some dividends, especially depending on my opponent's lead. If they lead like Urshifu plus something else that's not necessarily that fast, I could even just swap in the Lando and just go for a Discharge right away. But let's see what my opponent does. It's a very interesting match because I've yet to practice against Regieleki, and they opt for Torn plus Flutter Mane. Torn plus Flutter Mane is not really a lead that I really appreciate, to be totally honest here. I'm just going to have to full send the Discharge and the Tailwind with the Terra Ground kind of as is. We're just going to have to full send it here. Assuming he goes for the same thing, he's going to go for maybe Tailwind, Moonblast, whatever it may be. Could go for like a Bleak Wind or an Icy Wind. That would be ideal for me. Sometimes people in the Torn Mirror match, they'll go for something else like Taunt, Icy Wind, Bleak Wind. And then if I snipe their Torn, it kind of just like really sets the tone for a free win. But that doesn't always happen. They usually just match Tailwind. My Tailwind does go first, which means there's a decent chance I am faster. They just match the Tailwind, which is the worst case scenario. I really don't want my opponents to match Tailwind, if I'm being honest. He goes for Dazzling Gleam into both slots, does about 40% here. We're going to get a nice Discharge. We are going to knock out their... Oh, wow! That is a bulky Torn. Hello? That is a bulky Torn. Here's to hoping that I am faster, because I'm going to go for Icy Wind here. I am going to go for Icy Wind here. If my Torn is the fastest thing here and it wasn't a speed tie, then this looks amazing for us. We have to hope my Torn is the first thing to move, right? But we don't know. That Flutter could just move first. Flutter goes for Dazzling Gleam. I live on both slots. Is my Torn next? It is. Icy Wind. Alright, that puts Flutter Mane into range of Discharge here. Okay, so we won the 2v2. The only thing is we had to use Terra to do it, right? So now this next turn becomes kind of like a question of what he has left, and are the Pokemon that he has left any faster than Torn? Because if I can just keep pressuring with Icy Wind Discharge control here, things look relatively good for me. We don't want to see, yeah, I was just going to say, we don't necessarily want to see Rillaboom here, but it looks like we're seeing it anyway. Alright, so now here's the thing. Rillaboom can only fake out one slot, right? He can only fake out one slot. And we both have Tailwind. Pokemon I have in the back should be faster here. Do I save Zapdos? I don't even think I save Zapdos. I think I just go for the Discharge play, and I go for Bleak Wind Storm here. Try to get some really good damage down onto the Rilla. I'm not sure if I die to Fake Out or not. Yeah, I do die to Fake Out. Okay. So you know what? I just get a free Discharge into that Heatran, which I'm totally accepting of. And I can also get a Para onto either slot, which is totally fine by me. Alright, Discharge comes out. Nice Para onto the Rillaboom. That's what we like to see. Heat Wave comes out, is going to knock out the Zapdos. Okay, so we've created a 2v2 situation. The Heatran is Life Orb, but it's going to be healing up from the terrain. Okay. So, now my Rillaboom comes out. I do have Fake Out pressure here. I do get the Intimidate down onto them. I imagine this Heatran goes for Terra Grass, right? I imagine he goes for Terra Grass here. So how do we win? How do we win? I could just Fake Out the Heatran slot and go for like a Rock Slide. And this way, it kind of keeps him a little bit honest. It does like a little bit of chip damage. Scouts for Terra Grass. Alright, he just goes for Protect. Okay. What's the Rilla going for here? We do get Para Flinch chances here on the Rilla, which is also nice. Okay. That's the Para Flinch. So, I really want to go for, like... I think I want to go for Tantrum U-turn into Heatran here. U-turn on the Rilla slot. Cover for Terra Grass. And then Rock Slide or just Tantrum in case he doesn't do it. It's gotta be Terra Grass, but I'm just like, if my opponent's trying to outsmart me and not Terra Grass, yeah, there you go. And then now U-turn just gets redirected into Rilla. Alright, GG's! The Choice Specs Zapdos coming through again! Oh my! Knockoff into Rilla. That was a good play, because it gets rid of my Assault Vest, and it probably means that I wouldn't be able to live any hits from the Heatran there. But yeah, no, this is a for sure GG. We just double U-turn here. Wow, GG's. Yeah, I had a feeling that my opponent was going to try to get a little bit smart there, so I did what I had to do. GG's. Alrighty, next game of the day. And what are the actual chances that I play a Regieleki twice? Like, what are the actual chances of that, right? I would imagine pretty low. Lando looks pretty good here. Now the question is, who's my last Mon? Is it Rilla? Is it Heatran? I think given this... Oh, dude, it's so hard because, like, if I bring Heatran and they bring Rillaboom and they out my Zapdos, things get real scary. I also kind of like my Urshifu here as well, if not for that Flutter Mane. Oh man, this one is tough because like I can bring the Rilla and Rilla can be really, really good. It legit can be. But Rilla's also just kind of food for Chen Pao, which I'm already bringing like 3 Pokemon that are weak to Chen Pao. So Chen Pao spam is definitely something I am worried about for sure. I think... Gosh, this is tough. I think I do go Heatran here. I just need something, and even then, Heatran is still weak to Chen Pao, right? Sacred Sword. But, I think it's Heatran here. This is a tough matchup. Pao Dragonite is probably one of my most difficult matchups, but I do have ways to navigate the matchup. Just what makes it more difficult is when they're slapped on a Regieleki on there. So, like, I'm not 100% fully confident in my speed control. Now, I will have Tailwind up, which means, in theory, Lando can just outspeed Chen Pao, you know what I mean? Hit it with, like, a really good Rock Slide. They lead Urshifu, Chen Pao. Ooh, that might be, like, best case scenario. Because I don't think I die to Sucker. I'm faster under Tailwind. Aqua Jet Sucker, I don't think gets the job done. Yeah. And then I just Tailwind, right? Terra Ground, Tailwind. Alright, I hope I'm not overthinking it, but I think this is okay. Let's see what they go for here. I'm really hoping they do not protect the Urshifu. Because if we can snipe the Shifu here, then that creates an endgame where the Heatran looks really, really nice for us. So I'm really hoping the Urshifu doesn't get sniped, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, that sucks. Now, if this is just Icicle Crash and the Zapdos, that's going to be really, really bad, and we're going to lose the game probably. I should have just swapped in Lando, maybe. I could have swapped in Lando and went Terra Electric. Para into Chen Pao? Do I live in Ice Spinner? Probably not. Okay, so I think we lost the game on turn 1 here. I mean... Tantrum plus Bleak Wind probably kills the Urshifu. Was he gonna go for, like, Aqua Jet? Yeah, I lost on turn 1. That's really unfortunate. I had a winning play. If I just swap in the Lando, I go Terra Electric. But then the Chen Pao would always just be faster, right? So maybe that was also not a great play either. I'm just gonna Tantrum the Urshifu slot and Bleak Windstorm. We just gotta hope it double connects. That's really what this comes down to. He can go for like Sucker Punch Aqua Jet, but I don't know. He's gonna get rid of his weakness to flying, as he should. I'm just hoping that the Chen Pao helps out the Lando enough where this ends up being a knockout. Alright, Chen Pao does protect. Okay. Alright, Bleak Wind. Also, I need to live this Aqua Jet, which I think... Oh, it's a Lando? Yeah, I for sure lived that. He had a better chance into Torn there. Alright, come on. Bleak Wind, please don't miss. This decides the game. Alright, I don't know. This is with Chen Pao's help. Come on, Chen Pao, boost. Nice. Okay. Alright, so we did out the Urshifu. We are in Tailwind. I wonder if we're in Sucker Punch range. It's really, really hard to tell here. I could cycle the Lando for another... Oh, he just brings in E-Speed, doesn't he? He just brings in the E-Speed, doesn't he? Now, E-Speed into Lando, or is this E-Speed into Torn? Because, like, this creates an interesting dichotomy. I think I swap out the Lando into Heatran here, and I think I go for another Bleak Wind. Alright, little bit of a risky play on my part, but I'm trying my best here. Let's send out the Heatran. Heatran, in theory, has a pretty good matchup here. I don't imagine Sacred... Yeah, let's go. Alright, he still does so much damage. Alright, Bleak Wind. Let's go, dude. That is genuinely a good turn for me. Oh, man, we might have brought this back. That was such a rough start, dude. That was such a rough start. I was so late to seeing my opponent kind of make that play. Regieleki. Okay. I mean, he can't Terra, right? Right, he can't Terra. So... the question is, do I just attack here? Like, what can he do? I could bring in Lando. Because that looked like that was multi-scale damage. Tailwind is over in one turn. I imagine he's gonna E-speed me. And then I could go for like an Icy Wind, get some guaranteed speed control here. Okay. I think he is not Inner Focus. I think he's multi-scale. So I think this Intimidate matters. Yes, it does matter. Okay. So now, E-Speed into what slot? Regieleki goes for Protect. That's fine by me. I could just Tailwind now. Extreme Speed into Torn. Torn actually takes 2. Alright, Icy Wind into Dragonite here. So now I can Tailwind Rock Slide. And I think I win? Oof. Oof. I mean, it's a crit, but whatever. I mean, the Alecki just can't hurt the Torn, right? The Alecki just can't attack here, I don't think. What could he do? He could Terra Blast. Could I lose to Terra Blast here? I'm just gonna Tailwind. Alright, he gets off another E-Speed. Tailwind goes up. Lando should go for Rock Slide here, which should knock out the Dragonite. And I missed. Who'd I miss? Alright, I missed the Alecki. I think I prefer that. I think I just want to get this Dragonite out of here. Alright, Alecki, what moves do you have? Are you Terra Blast? Yeah, he's Terra Blast. Okay. I think we win here. Pretty sure we win. So now we are Stomping Tantrum into the Alecki and Icy Wind into the Alecki. Let's go! Oh man, I was so sure that I lost that game on turn 1. What a comeback. That was actually so well played by me. Yeah. Alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Those games were really, really fun. They were really quick, honestly. Zapdos just put in a lot of work. A lot of damage, really, really fast. That's what this team is really, really good at. I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to remind you guys that all of my videos are sponsored by G Fuel. You can get up to 30% off your next order on gfuel.com by using discount code BrawlingJohn. I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to ask you to leave a like, a comment, a sub, all that good stuff. Enjoy the pace. Enjoy the team. Yeah.